Hi, this is Ron Ball, and I welcome you to Choose Greatness. This is an opportunity for you to learn lessons of practical wisdom that work. I have had the wonderful opportunity to speak live to over 8 million people in 22 countries. I've done seminars all over the world, and I have also had the opportunity to interview 14,000 individuals, high performance people who live not only productive lives, but happy lives. They not only make money, but they're happy in their families. They are the complete package, and they are a great example, and I want you to learn from them. Now, you are in a position right now where you can make some great decisions about your future. But how do you first overcome your immaturities? Overcoming immaturity roadblocks is essential for your advancement. Whether you are 20, 30, or 50, you need to overcome internal immaturities. Now, I want to focus on 5 of them today. And I'm going to give you information based on those 14,000 interviews with real people who learned how to manage life successfully and happily. And I love being around these individuals. I've worked with them for over 25 years, and it's just been an inspiration. I love the zest and the excitement and the sheer happiness of the way these people live. And I've always tried to absorb their lessons. So I want to give you those lessons back. Now, here's the first one. The first immaturity roadblock that you have to overcome is fairness fixation. That is when you are so focused on whether things are fair that you lose your own energy to go forward. You're always complaining, always whining, always concerned that you're not getting your due, that you're not getting taken care of properly, and that if you don't succeed, it's, well, unfair. I remember a number of years ago, my wife, Amy, was at a hair salon, a beauty salon, and she was there for whatever. And I remember that I was to pick her up at a certain point, so I got there on time, and I picked Amy up, and she said, "Well, you'll really find this interesting. What happened today?" She said, "I was in there in the chair." And the door opened, and there were a lot of people in there. It was very busy. The door opened, and a young woman came in, 16, maybe 17 years of age, and she was so angry. She was fuming, mad, angry, volcanic, and she was just spewing all this venom. And she walked in, and it turned out that her mother was the technician who was working on my wife, Amy. So the mom, very embarrassed, looked at her daughter and said, "What's wrong?" And the daughter said, "It's just not fair." And the mom, of course, says, "What's not fair?" And the daughter said, "Well, I have been to my new job and they're not going to pay me enough." Now, here was the backstory. She was between 16 and 17 years of age and had just gotten a job at a local McDonald's restaurant. Now, she had no marketable skills. She had no business or sales training. So she was starting at the bottom. So they paid her, what do you think? Minimum wage. That's all she really deserved because she had nothing to bring. She didn't know anything. And she wanted to buy a car. And she had already calculated that she would use all this money she was about to make to buy her car. When she realized that she was going to be paid a very minimum amount, her anger just exploded, and then she ends up in the beauty salon in front of her mother, embarrassing her mom in front of all the customers, shouting, "It's not fair, it's not fair, it's not fair." But remember what I said. She had no marketable skills. She had no training. She had no sales experience. All she knew was to go in and do the very minimal things they told her to do. That's all she was worth to that business. She wasn't bringing any value to the situation. So that was her fairness fixation. Now, here's the way this works. If you have a fairness fixation, it will always create a success blockage in your life. You cannot get around it, under it, over it. You are blocked permanently if you give in to fairness fixation because you will use your energy, your emotions on finding ways to complain about what's wrong and that it's not your fault anyway. it's your teacher, it's your parents, it's the lack of education, you don't have enough money. I mean, you can make a long list of all the reasons, otherwise known as excuses, for why you are not where you want to be in life. But they are just that, excuses, and you are a victim of fairness fixation. And this victim identity will always drain your energy. It will always stop you from success. The individuals with whom I've worked over the last 30 years are people who absolutely never give in to fairness fixation. Not one of them, all 14,000. They are where they are in life because even when things go really bad, they don't waste their time blaming someone else. So you have an opportunity right now to get rid of this toxic condition. It will do you no good. It will do you no favors. It is not your friend. It is your enemy. And you need to recognize that the first big obstacle of success is fairness fixation. Now, very closely aligned with that, very similar to that, slightly different, but very similar, is the someone to blame attitude. Now, fairness fixation logically flows into someone must blame attitude. And that means that you try very hard to find somebody else and it's their fault. Now remember, these two are connected. Fairness fixation and someone must pay. Someone is to blame. And it's not me. It's not me. It's not my fault. It is somebody else who's always ruining my chances. And you, again, use all this time and energy and effort. You totally stop your momentum. And you also become a very unattractive person because who likes to be around individuals who are always spouting negative, who are always broadcasting their complaints? No one is comfortable with that. So you create a situation where you fail to get friends and allies who will help you because they are turned off by your negative fixation, your fairness fixation, and your determination to blame somebody else. Somebody must pay attitude. Now, here's the third blockage, the third roadblock to maturity, immaturity roadblock. The third one is failing the reality test. Failing the reality test. I encountered someone a number of years ago who had a great point. I've never forgotten this. And I want to kind of paraphrase the way he said it because it's very powerful. You need to hear this. This could actually be a game changer for you if you can grab this concept and really get it. What he said to me was, he said that, and he was a man, by the way, he was in management and he worked with a lot of mid-level, mid-range executives and people who were coming new into the company. And so he was very on top of new people coming in and trying to train them to go up the ladder. And he said that so many of the young men and women, and this is not a slam on them being young men and women, that's who they were. Young men and women, mostly just out of college, coming into this company. And he said they had such a determination to live reality that wasn't real. Now, here's the way he explained it. He said that these young men and women come in, and he said, instead of loving the truth, they try to make what they love the truth. You see the difference? Instead of loving the truth, they try to take what they love and make it the truth. And he said they live in a fantasy world that is not real. And anytime they confront reality, they're shocked, they're angry, they're upset, and they reject reality when the reality is what they have to adapt to in order to succeed. And he said these individuals, what he learned working with these young men and women, is that they so resisted good counsel because why? It didn't fit what they wanted. It didn't fit their view of their own reality. It didn't fit the world that they had imagined that they were living in. Because of that, they rejected the wisdom of more experienced people. And then, I love the way he put it, and then they wondered why they self-destructed, why they didn't make it, why they didn't move forward. He said it's because they failed the reality test. Well, that is a gigantic immaturity roadblock. When you fail the reality test, you're trying to live in a fantasy, an imagined world that's not real. And the reason you reject it is because it's not what you want it to be. So you have to make an adult decision, a mature decision. Do you want to adapt to reality and work with the truth? Or do you want to keep muddling along, sucked down in the quicksand of your own mediocrity? It's a decision. That's why this program is called Choose Greatness. The word choose is critical. I mean, everyone wants greatness, whether it's financial or personal or relational or emotional. Everyone wants greatness, a great life. Everyone desires that. But you have to choose greatness, and this is no more relevant than in this reality test. So, are you failing the reality test? All right, number 4. The fourth big immaturity roadblock is giving in to stubborn stupidities. Stubborn stupidities. It's almost like you live your life on trivial pursuit. You're so petty. The smallest thing can disturb you. I read once that if you want to measure the maturity of an individual, then all you have to do is look at what it takes to discourage them or what it takes to upset them or anger them. If it's something relatively small or little, if it's traffic, if it's what somebody says to you, if somebody doesn't speak to you in a way you think is appropriate, and that just spins you off the deep end and you're so angry, then you have demonstrated that you're not a mature individual. It took very little to upset you, very little to destroy your equilibrium. When that's the case, that's how you measure. That's how you measure whether you need to grow up in these critical areas. Now, I know you want a great life, and I believe you can have it. I mean, I have a great life every day. I thank God for that. I mean, there are many reasons for that, which I will deal with at different times during this show. But I want you, first of all, to understand that you have to unlock the problems in your own heart, your own identity, your own self. That some of your challenges come up from you. It's like having barbarians in the basement. They're down there and they're threatening you all the time, and you've allowed them to live in your basement. Well, you need to eject these enemies, these immaturities. You need to get rid of them because this is your opportunity to move forward. And wow, there's nothing like it. When you get real freedom in your life, I mean, spiritually, emotionally, financially, relationally, when you get this level of freedom, wow, are you going to be explosively happy? You're going to be, the sunshine is going to hit your life and you're going to love it. But you've got to get rid of these immaturities. Fairness fixation. You have to get rid of failing the reality test, blaming other people, the someone must pay attitude. And then there are the stubborn stupidities. Let me give you an example. I was in a meeting with some prominent business leaders in North Carolina. I live in the beautiful Cumberland Mountains of Eastern Kentucky. Fabulous place. And just absolutely scenic, beautiful, love. It's remote, near nothing, but I love it. I'm there today. And so I drove to North Carolina to this meeting, and it was a fantastic group. I mean, these were dominant, big time business leaders from all around the United States. There's about 6 of us there at the meeting, and I was privileged to be invited. And while I was there, the man who was leading the meeting got a message that he needed to take a call. So he apologized for interrupting the meeting. The call was from the White House. It was from the President of the United States, who wanted to ask him some advice on something. So he took the president's call while we stood there and waited, and it was just a great time. Well, the whole meeting was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it was just one of my best days ever. So at the end of the meeting, it's a beautiful spring day in May, and I got into my car. I remember I was in a BMW convertible, so I thought it was like 85 degrees. So I put the top down and just had a fabulous drive home. I was really happy. So I got to my home in Eastern Kentucky. And when I got there, it was about 6 o'clock in the evening. Of course, May, still sunshine, very warm. And nobody was at my house. My wife had a friend come over and help her do some spring cleaning that day, and she and her friend were gone. No one was there. So I walk in, and I walk into the downstairs bathroom, and I look, and to my horror, to my shock, to my utter and absolute disgust, I saw it in the bathroom. I could not believe it. I looked at the roll of toilet paper on the wall. I like it over the top. And somebody had switched it and it was dropping the other way from the bottom. It was not the way I liked my toilet paper. And I just got really irritated. I got really mad. All my happiness, all my joy just evaporated because all I could think about was who messed up my toilet paper roll. And suddenly, it's like God in his great loving grace for me just slammed me. And I thought, what are you doing? You were just a man who was talking to the President of the United States. You were a guest with tremendous business leaders from all over the country. You just had a fabulous spring ride home in your convertible. You come into your home to see your wife and family. You love where you live. You walk in and you lose your composure over a toilet roll paper position. And I felt like such an idiot. That's what I mean by a stubborn stupidity. How many trivial little nothing zeros are in your life that just don't matter, but you make them matter? They are stubborn stupidities. Now, here's the last one on today's list of immaturity roadblocks. Here's the last one. The last one is waiting for perfection. There are dancers, gifted dancers who don't dance. There are gifted writers who don't write. There are people overflowing with great business ideas who never put them into action. There are people all over the world who wait for perfection and never cross the finish line. Don't let that be you. You have to cross the finish line. You have to be a completer. Don't wait for perfection. Don't waste your time waiting for some perfect moment until you've figured everything out. Life's successes belong to the doers, to men and women of action. Now, I'm not saying be reckless, and I'm not saying be stupid in your preparation or lack of it. I mean, do a good job. I mean, operate with good sense and good management skill. But at the same time, at some point, you have to do it. Remember this, one of the most basic quotes you will ever hear about success, you're about to hear it right now. And here it is. Nothing is ever done. Are you getting this? Nothing is ever done until you do it. It's that simple. Don't wait for perfection. Dr. Kenneth Christian, a Christian psychologist, wrote a fascinating book a number of years ago about what he called HAPUAs. HAPUAs. Now that stands for high potential underachievers. HAPUAs. High potential underachievers. People with fantastic potential. Everybody tells them, hey, you're going to go far. You're going to do great. And they never do. They're high potential underachievers. And he said the reason that they are HAPUAs is because they don't go on and complete their projects. They lose interest. They get distracted. They're HAPUAs, and they lose interest, and they never finish the job. Success belongs to the finishers, to those who get there, the people who walk up to the foul line and make the foul shot. Miss it or not, at least you make the shot. So you have to be an individual who does not wait for perfection before you kick yourself into action. So these are the immaturity roadblocks that you have to be on alert for. And I've learned how to manage these from these 14,000 incredible individuals I've worked with over a 30-year period, 25 to 30 years, interviewing them. I've got thousands of pages and recordings, hundreds of recordings, and I'm drawing from all of that to give you the essence of success, to help you choose greatness. God bless you. You can always get in touch with me at choosegreatness.com. You can go to our YouTube channel, Choose Greatness. But again, for contact, it's choosegreatness.com. And I'm saying it again, choosegreatness.com. I think that time you probably got it, right? Okay. Choosegreatness.com. This is Ron Ball, ball like a baseball. And I'm excited to help you choose greatness.